Okay, this is now the Tower Process, part 26. It's the beginning of July 2021. So today's the 10th card in the Celtic Cross. But I want to mention one thing first that probably will help you if you're reading cards for yourself. And even if you're reading cards for other people. And it has to do with the question that's asked. So I happened to watch a video by somebody in England about the I Ching, and she asked about, the question was, how do you keep in the flow? Let's say you're doing well and you're in the flow, and how do you keep there? What do you do so you can stay in harmony or in the flow? So she picked a hexagram, or got a hexagram, and it was increase. And so she started talking about how you do a little bit extra, and it doesn't really matter what she said. But at one point she mentioned, there's a hexagram called perseverance, and she mentioned at one point that she got the hexagram increase, not perseverance. And I thought, perseverance might be the answer. So yes, by all means, increase, and that keeps you in the flow. But sometimes, and especially for some people, perseverance is going to be a better answer. And then it occurred to me, when we're looking at the tarot or the I Ching, but let's say we're talking about the tarot at this point, the card that you get really answers that question for that questioner at that moment. So I think we get into trouble when we pick a card and try to come up with general rules, or rules or meanings or answers that apply to everybody in the world or everybody all the time. So you can pick any major trump, let's say, and talk about it and the value of the behavior shown by that particular card. But that doesn't mean that it's always the right answer for everybody. So I think what's most important to notice or to remember is when you're picking cards, or remember the answer is for that questioner at that moment for that question. And it can all change in the afternoon or tomorrow. You can be the same person, the same question, but they're not the same today as they were yesterday. They may be basically the same, but maybe they had a good or a bad experience which changed them a little bit. So the following day, when they ask the same question, they're not exactly the same person that they were yesterday. And I think, and that can be why you get different cards tomorrow than you get today, even though it's the same question. So if you're looking at cards for yourself, make sure you've got it's easier if you've got a question, because then you remind yourself of the question, and it's the cards that come up are relevant for that moment, for that question, depending on that blends with the way that you are right now or at the time of asking the question, rather than think that you can pick a card and talk about it like everybody in the world is going to benefit from that. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like, well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so this is card 10 in the Celtic Cross. I forgot my diagram, but the 10th card goes above the 9th, so it's the top of the little column on the right-hand side. My diagram's somewhere over there. Anyway, the 10th card is a final outcome. So it shows the general direction in which things are going to go. And you have to remember, or it's a good idea to remember, that when you get to the 10th card, you've already considered 9 other cards, and the questioner has had ideas, or they've been told information, or they've been given questions to think about before you even get to the 10th card. And this is one of the reasons why I think it's important, if you're going to do a Celtic Cross, that you begin with all the cards face down. Because if you begin with everything face down, you start with card 1 and you sort of zero in on the final outcome rather than start with the last. It's easy to start with the last card. So let's say you shuffle and you lay cards upright, face up, rather. And the last card is the sun. So you immediately go to the sun because you want to talk about good things, and yes, it's going to be successful and things are going to go well, but you don't know how you get to that point. So you're sort of starting at the end, but you haven't taken the questioner through the journey to get to that end point of success. And so if you start with, yes, it's all going to work out well, maybe the questioner starts listening at that point. So it's all going to go well. They think, okay, I can relax now, and they don't pay attention to what the other cards are telling them. So maybe they don't learn what they're meant to learn that will put them into the position of being able to have the success that's shown by the sun card at the end as the final outcome. And so I think the only way to go is you begin with all cards face down and you turn them one at a time, and you turn card one. And you talk about it and you explain something, or you wonder about it, or you tell a story connected with that particular card. You do something with it. And then you turn card two and you do something with it. And you make it up, or you figure it out, or you talk about what could be, and it might be pointing to this, but we have to remember when we get to the eighth card, we're going to have to see how other people are influencing this question. So you can't, I think it's asking for trouble and inaccuracy if you start with the last card as the final outcome. Because in the same way, the last card could be the tower reversed. And you say to the person, okay, the last card is the tower reversed, it's all going to fall apart. And at which point they start worrying and panicking and they don't listen either. So there can be good reasons why it's all going to fall apart at the end. And maybe it's because you're kind of on the wrong track. So change your ways now and make some adjustments now and in the short term, in the immediate future. Then you won't. Okay, you're going to have to go through the tower reverse, which is upset and separation and a bad time generally, a mess, some kind of mess. But the thing is, if you learn from the earlier cards, you've got a small mess. It's still a mess, but it's only little. You get a better chance of it being a small mess. Whereas if you don't pay attention to the cards that came up first or came up before it, you're going to be left with a big mess. So what do you want? A little mess that you can quickly clear up, or a big mess that's going to take you weeks and maybe years to get over? So I think what we do is we begin with the first card and you make some kind of sense of it. Because remember, it's not about you, the reader, it's about the questioner. And we're supposed to be giving them signposts or direction or ideas so they can make better decisions, or things to do so they can be happier about a particular situation that they're asking about. So it really doesn't matter if you, the reader, are comfortable. It's not about you, it's about the questioner. So the 10th card is the final outcome. So you can, I think, usefully compare the 9th card, hopes or fears, and the 10th card, and see if the hopes are going to come true or if the fears are going to come true. So you look at the card in the 9th position. So let's say it's the 4 of Cups. So you're hoping that something nice is going to happen because we've got the cup up in the air over to the right, and it's upright. Okay, so you're looking for something maybe unusual or something different, but something satisfying and something enjoyable because it's a cup. And so you look at the 10th card, and if the 10th card is the 10 of Batons reversed, you're going to struggle to find what it is that you're looking for, because the 10 of Batons is plodding and not seeing where you're going. Right, the fellow with the batons holding like this. So it's an awkward way to hold batons. So maybe what you do is you stop, put everything down and pick it up again, but pick it up more efficiently. Or knowing that you're going to have to carry this thing for a while, figure out some kind of way of carrying it so that the transportation is easier. And this may be people. It doesn't have to be objects. It can be people. You know you're dealing with certain individuals, but rather than just keep doing what you've been doing or treating them the way you've been treating them, you stop for a moment and figure out what they're like and what they need and what they want and how you can help them or how you can get in their way or whatever it happens to be. And then in the light of a little bit of thinking about the people who are giving you a difficulty or giving you a hard time, you come up with some different ways of handling them or different activities to be involved with them in which to be involved with them. So maybe you decide, okay, you got this teenager who's a pain, as teenagers tend to be at times. We've all been teenagers. So maybe you decide that you'll give them money to go and see a movie. Maybe that's difficult at the moment, but you know what I mean. It could be maybe you take them to a store and buy them a present or give them a subscription to something, whatever it happens to be, instead of saying no all the time. That's a big thing with parents. They're always saying no to their children. Maybe you start saying yes, okay, and trust the children. They make mistakes, but if you make a mistake and learn from it, it wasn't really a mistake. And also you're showing that you care about them better. I didn't mean to talk about that. So let's say you compare the 9th and the 10th cards to see whether things are going to work out the way you want or the way you expect. And so if you get cooperation between those two cards, then things are going to work. Things are going to be good. The other thing is the 10th is a final outcome, which is in the future. The 9th is hopes and wishes, or hopes and fears, which is for the future as well. The 6th card shows what will come, and that's the future. And the 5th card shows what may come, so that's the future. So it's after you've turned the 10th card and spoken about it as the final outcome. So this is generally the direction you're going to go in, or the question is going to go in. Maybe you look at all 4 cards that refer to the future and see what you can make of them as a group or as a quartet. And are they telling the same story? In which case, there's going to be a flow in the life, and you're going to naturally go from one step to the next, to the next, to the next. Or do the cards contradict each other? So maybe you've got reverse 3 of swords, and you've got the 4 of cups, and you've got the 2 of cups, and you've got the tower reversed. So there you've got some upset, some fear, but you've also got some reason to celebrate, and other people who are cooperative and helpful. And so you put together these 4 influences or 4 cards and figure out what, because I have said more than once probably, it's not so much what a card means, it's more what sense does it make as the answer to the question. So if you're looking at a card and figuring out, okay, I've got this card, I don't like it, the question doesn't like it, what sense, why would this card come up, what sense does it make for the question or for the answer to the question? And then you figure out what sense it makes, why would it be there, what's it trying to tell you? Then you come up with an answer and it's helpful. So you maybe look at these 4 cards to do with the future and figure out a composite answer. So let's say you've got, as an example, let's say what will come is the 3 of cups and the final outcome is the 4 of cups. So how do you know when it's going to happen? When the final outcome will be, or when the end point of that particular cycle is going to happen? So if you've got the 3 of cups as what will come and the 4 of cups as the final outcome, it's going to happen quite quickly, quite soon, because the 3 of cups to the 4 of cups is one step. You know what I mean? And it's kind of in the same, on the same track or the same path, cups and cups, 3 to 4. Whereas if you've got the 3 of cups and the final outcome is a 10 of cups, that's probably going to take a little bit longer to get to this particular situation shown by the 10 of cups. That's one way of looking at figuring out how long it's going to take or how long it's going to be. Whereas if what will come is the tower reversed and the final outcome is the sun, Okay, things are you're going to get it all together with the Sun card, but the Tower reverse looks like a bit of a mess that's going to take time to clear up. The Three of Cups to the Four of Cups, you're already thinking the right way, or you're already expecting good things with the Three of Cups. And you're thinking, what can I do to celebrate, or how am I going to celebrate? Whereas with the Tower reversed, it can be that you're given things to deal with that you don't want, that upset you, that freak you out, that cause you to panic, that gives you anxiety attacks, whatever it happens to be, because it's a Tower and it's upside down, right? So that's a difficult, hard, awkward situation shown by the Tower reversed. Even it's going to take you a while to get the hang of it and to be able to repair what's been broken or what's been damaged. So we can't expect that if you get the Tower reversed as the immediate future, what will come, you can't expect that 2 days from now it's all going to be better. Maybe it can, and maybe we should think like that, but being realistic or being normal, then the Tower reverse is going to take a bit of time to figure out and to fix. So we're maybe looking at a few months, and that's when, with this, let's say we've got the Sun at the final outcome, that's when you get it all together. So that means that you, the questioner, have to be patient. Don't look for a miracle cure. Miracles can happen, but it's not going to happen in this case. It's going to take you a little bit of time to figure out what went wrong and why, and what you can do to stop it going wrong again, or what you can do to fix it in this instance. Sorry, I had this thought for a moment. Maybe I forgot to turn on the audio. Anyway, maybe it's my thinking about the Tower reversed as, oh no, panic. Okay, so anyway, I can't think of anything else to say. So that's the 10th card in the Celtic Cross, the final outcome. And it can stand on its own, but you can also incorporate it into the points that have come up with the earlier cards, or specifically with the 9th, the 6th, and the 5th cards, and whatever is there, and put something together so that it kind of all makes sense. And the thing is, it can make sense for you, but the questioner is going to make their own sense of it. But by you giving them points or hints or ideas about how it could fit together, it's going to trigger some kind of understanding in them. So even if it doesn't work out exactly the way you say it's going to work out, if you've been looking at the cards that have come up and you've tried to put a story together, you're going to be really close. And it's a bit like the same kind of, let's say, it's a bit like, you get team sports and individual golf it's you and the ball, whereas rugby or football is a team sport, so you've got other people involved. So maybe what you do is, if you think of a reading that you do the reading and it's a bit like how to fit in as a member of a team, the questioner is going to understand that. It's not like the answer is going to be you're going to play golf on your own, because if you're talking about team sports, then the question is going to be a member of a team, and they have to get on with other people and follow instructions and follow orders, and maybe they can suggest tactics or strategy. And that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. So maybe you're talking about rugby, but the answer is actually about football. But it does, in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter, because the general idea is correct of what you're telling the person. It's not like you're talking about rugby and the person ends up swimming. You know what I mean? It's just not the same kind of activity. Okay, I hope that wasn't confusing at the end, because it was for me. Okay, that's it for the moment. Next will be part 27. I don't know what I'm going to talk about then, but I'll do something, and it'll be quite soon, I think. It's been 8 days, I think, since or 9 since the last one, but things got in the way. Ideally, I'll be back in a few days with something more. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Okay, bye-bye.